like l'ouverture. So being a member of the L'Ouverture organization has opened my eyes to my birth country, to who we are and where we come from. And I just wanted to be part of this conversation. I understand it is a conversation, everybody can join in and ask questions, share comments. So that's why I'm here.
So well,
go ahead.
When was International Holiday?
When was what?
When was that day a national holiday in Haiti?
Oh, that was declared last year, 2020. I don't remember the exact date.
Oh,
but
okay.
This year is the first year that the anniversary is taking effect. Yeah, it is called in Haiti Journée de Dessalines, because that's when he was born. And we've been wanting to do that, to not celebrate somebody on the day that they were assassinated. Now, October 17 has become Journée de Deuil.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah.
Basically,
thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. So I guess I'll go introduce myself, and then I'll also go over the conversation guide. I am Dr. Jean-Claude Dutesse by training. I am a clinical neuropsychologist, and history is my evocation. I've been reading history, and what I've been doing since I retired is working with the Louverture Cultural Society, and editing newsletters, and then reading whatever I can find, whatever information on the history of Haiti, and anything having to do with Haiti that I can find my hands on. And what we thought about tonight, instead of having a lecture, we just have a conversation to help move the conversation along. So we have some suggested guideline. The question, for instance, when did you first hear of Emperor Jean-Jacques Dessalines? So I'll kind of model the process by answering the question myself. Based on what my family told me, I was about 3 years old when I first heard of him. At the time, Jumel, I believe it was, I forgot Jumel's first name.
Clément
Jumel, I'm blocking it right now. So he was hiding in a house that was just across from the house where we lived. And apparently there were people who he would have some of his colleagues and politicians over there, and then they will talk. And I happened to have access to that home. And I heard them speak, and I must have mentioned Jean-Jacques Dessalines at one time, and people were impressed. That was my very first time that I heard of him. I did not know who he was, but I knew he was somewhat important, because other important people, okay,
very
made me special just for mentioning his name. Okay. So that's what I was. The second time I heard about him was from a neighbor of mine. I remember we used to call him Voisin Louis, who was very into history. And then he will talk about the emperor, he would call him, the emperor, or the man who freed us. Subsequent to that was when I was in school, mostly which was Premier Jean-Marie. So well, they talk a lot about La Bataille de Vertières. Before that, it was mostly Toussaint, les Indiens, a lot about Christophe, but Dessalines really came into view for me and to what he does and what he meant. However, the impression that I was left with was that he was a one-dimensional man, coupé-tête boulicaille. They always talk about him. He was great, but he was such a ferocious character, ferocious man, and that's what I kind of remember. When I came to the US, read more books, then I realized that this man was a multi-dimensional man, genius on many levels, very, very involved man. And to these days, I'm still learning about him because new information is coming. For after he was assassinated, you can talk about him for about 43 years. It was against the law. So they put a blackout on everything that he did, both in Haiti and outside in Haiti. Okay. So I'm still learning about him, and then I thought that it would be nice to have to have a conversation, so people can share their experiences as it relates to their knowledge, pretty much, of the emperor. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please bring the question forward. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions. We're looking to all of you to pitch in. If you have any comments you'd like to make, please make them. We all are trying to learn from each other. All right.
Jean-Claude.
Peter.
Hi, this is Eric Dutas. I just have to follow up with what Jean-Claude just mentioned. When did I first hear about the emperor? I mean, if you were 3 years old, that means I must have been at least 1, right?
You were a baby.
No, but my recollection of him has to do basically with a song. They used to play patriotic songs in Haiti during a certain time of the year. I don't remember exactly what time of the year, but I think also it has to do also with the Duvalier propaganda, especially around the time they were changing he was changing the colors of the flag that time. But the song that I remember, the part of the song that I remember from that song was that Dessalines, Dessalines Pavlé ouais blanc, tu es blanc, tu es blanc. And that always stayed in my mind. As I grew older and I moved here to the US, I've done a lot of extensive reading on the Haitian Revolution, on all of the national heroes, and especially Dessalines is one of my favorite, because I like to call him the Malcolm X of Haiti. I also learned about a lot about the myth. There's a very big myth about Dessalines regarding white genocide. You know, I think we all talked about it quite frequently. You will hear people say that Dessalines, like the song was saying, Dessalines Pavlé ouais blanc, and that's a I have come across that it's a myth, in the sense that it's something that's been taken out of the historical context, and I will probably talk about it a little bit more, but this is what I remember first about Dessalines when I first heard of Dessalines.
All right, maybe we move to our next facilitator. I think you
Astrid.
I think she went first, didn't she?
Yes.
She
I did.
You did she?
I did.
Combine it. She didn't really.
I didn't hear much about him. I'm just hearing more about him. I just heard his name.
Okay. In my case, I similar to Eric, I grew up hearing that Dessalines, you know, say tuer, couper tête bouler caille. I actually use that at work. I used to use those lines at work when I wanted to piss off people, like if they were getting on my nerve. And I would say, I'm a descendant of Dessalines. And they would give me those blank stare. And I had to explain, you know, when we get upset, to, you know, couper tête bouler caille. Again, they didn't understand Creole. And I had to tell them, you don't want to know what it means. But of course, some of them did find out what it meant. Let's say that they left me alone. No one bothered me because I let them know I was a descendant of Dessalines. Though being here in the US and being married to Eric, who has every book that can possibly exist about Haitian Revolution. So, I mean, I got tired of actually reading, and then I prefer that he tells me about the book after he reads them. So then this is how I'm learning quite a few things about a lot of Haitian heroes, especially Dessalines. And my sister Maggie, whom I believe is probably on the Zoom, also is educating me about him. And she told me recently that where he was born, like on a ship, like his mother gave birth to him and she died right after. And she handed him, I think, to someone and said, teach him all the language. So all these things, she's learning them and then passing them on to me. So that's the extent of my knowledge about Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
Anybody from the audience would like to share with us?
Yeah, I have studied Haitian history, so I have been
So we are lucky.
I have been educated in Haiti, so I know my history, even though I left Haiti since 1961, but I still know my history.
It is interesting that you mentioned that you left Haiti in 61 and that I'm not questioning that you know the history, but I'm just wondering, because my period in the time in Haiti, there was a time that they didn't even talk about Dessalines for a long time.
Oh no, not in my time.
Not in your time.
It's only now that, Haiti's education is getting down, but, believe me, when I came here at 15 years old, I still kept, whatever I learned in Haiti and whatever they taught me in Haiti and the way they raised us in Haiti too. So that is why I didn't, excuse me to tell you that, but, I'm not in Haiti right now because, frankly, it's heartbroken. So
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, that is my experience too, Eric. I think I left Haiti when I just after I turned 14. Every year, it used to be a big event with all the school children to celebrate basically on October 17th.
Believe me, I wasn't part of it, but that was really something different in Haiti in my time.
You guys were the lucky ones.
Yeah, lucky.
Yes.
I left at 8 years old. I didn't know that much.
I left at 15 years old. I'm 75 right now, so I'm not young.
And then Duvalier was pretty much into Dessalines. In fact, he claimed that to use Dessalines quote as a spiritual mentor, and that he wanted to basically return Haiti to the spirit of Dessalines. That's not what he did, but he did do some things that were similar to what Dessalines had done, such as bringing back the black and white flag. Under Dessalines, the flag was black and red, the red and black flag. Under Dessalines' 1805 Constitution, the two colors of the flag was red and black and red, yeah, red and black. So Duvalier did bring those things back. But I think what Eric was alluding to is that by the time Dessalines was assassinated in 1806, he had become very unpopular across Haiti. And after they killed him, it was not popular to talk about him. And then actually the governments that followed discouraged it, even made it somewhat illegal. It wasn't until 1843, I believe, Lysius Félicité Salomon, in a speech that he made, I forgot, I'm not remembering the occasion, he actually paid tribute to Dessalines. And then Dessalines came back again, much more forceful. The spirit of Dessalines came back again much more forcefully, from what I've been reading, during the American occupation, when Haitians started to realize that the Americans were not helping us, but actually pushing us backward. And so the spirit of fighting, the spirit of revolution, the spirit of the pride came back, and people began to speak more and more about what Dessalines did and what Dessalines meant. Yeah. If there are not any questions or commentaries, I would like to share something about Dessalines. And let's see, I'm trying to get to this slide here. This is a slide picturing a Dahomey woman warrior. This information is coming from yeah, let's see, what is her name? I don't want to mispronounce her name. I want to say
so you have to try that. That's our ancestors.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Agbaraya, whatever. We
That's right.
learn.
Actually, you probably know about that. If you want to tell
We're
us something,
supposed to know that. We're supposed to know that.
just know that. Okay. I mean, so
But you know, this is new for me. Anyway, I'm learning.
okay. So this is Miss Bayina Bello, Haitian historian, and who has been, she and a group have been collecting oral history. The first few books written on Haiti were based entirely on the French, the English, or the Europeans' perceptions of Haiti and what were in their archives. Okay. And then so the oral history, the people who grew up with Dessalines, who grew up with the people around that time, were not included. So she's been going around on Artibonite, Le Grand Nord, dans le Sud, all over Haiti, getting information from parents, grandparents, and people who knew. And so this is where she's going from. So this lady is a Dahomey woman warrior, is Agbaraya. That was the name.
Araya.
Agbaraya.
Agbaraya. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is from Dahomey. That was the name of the women warriors. From the age of 10, they started training, and then they had to complete their training before they can get married. So she, this lady here, the next slide, is Gantoya. The name is Victoria Toya Montu. Okay? Now, she was an Agbaraya. She was by Portuguese or French slave traders, brought to Haiti. And while in Haiti, she continued to struggle. And she is the lady who raised Dessalines and who taught him and schooled him in the art of war. Now, as a psychologist, this is extremely important because one of the things that we learn is that what makes you, what gives you a solid foundation is being able to be loved, prized, valued by at least one human being, one other human being. And an event within slavery that occurred, and this lady, according to Benina Ballow's story, this is a very interesting book, I'll talk about it later. It's called Lumière Number 1, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, 21 points communs sous la vie. Extremely informative little book. And then she talks about how this mother, being pregnant, is running away from the habitation, apparently to kill herself. And then Grantoya, Baraya Toya, also is running away with the same plan to kill herself. So the spirit can go back to Guinea, go back to Dahomey, and then be free forever. And they got together, and then Agbaraya convinced Dessalines' mother to allow her to help her. And she nursed her helper and then delivered the infant. That occurred on the 9th, from September 19th to September 20th. That's what historians agreed on. And then Dessalines was born on September 20th under the care of Grantoya. Now, mother died sometime after childbirth. So she entrusted the child to Grantoya. And Grantoya is the one who had to return to the habitation that she was running from so she could raise him. Okay. And then although she was sold many times, they also sold him many times, they were always lucky enough to find themselves in the same plantation. And then she's the one who schooled him and then trained him. She also fought in the War of Independence. She was one of the soldiers. And then when she died, Dessalines was emperor. And then so she had the fortune to have the respect of an imperial funeral.
Good.
Anybody else have heard of that story?
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So the book is, I don't know if you guys, if I put it here, okay, I'll put it out later. You guys can see it. Can see this book here. Okay.
I could say, yeah.
See it? Okay. Now, they're doing really, she and her group are doing fantastic work on giving us history from our perspective. Because for a very long time, the word of the Haitian common person was not respected. Oh, but their grandparents, their great-great-grandparents were there, and they lived it and they experienced it. Kind of having it for the first time in book form. Anybody else from the audience would like to share something with us? Anything else?
Jean-Claude, yeah, I do. I like to go back to the point I started with earlier, which is the myth that Dessalines parlait au blanc. You know, and I think it's important because this is what the image that everybody has of Dessalines, and it takes away, it diminishes his accomplishments as a great hero.
We know why.
Yeah, and the issue was this, though. I mean, to put it in proper context, when the French evacuated Haiti back in 1803, or after their defeat, they did not conceded the defeat. Instead, you had a small group of French who went over to the Santo Domingo side and started to threaten the new Black Republic. So when Dessalines got hold of that, he took care of business, as any
Of course,
would.
of course.
Okay. And again, to make the other point that the thing about he does not like white people is false, because Dessalines also granted Haitian citizenship to the Polish soldiers who came in with the French to fight Haitians, and then find out that the Haitians and the Polish people are in the same situation against the French, and joining the Haitians in helping us revolt against the French.
Yeah, these are the Polish people, the Polish people.
That's correct. And Dessalines provided them, gave them citizenship in Haiti, and they were living in Casal. So it's important that we understand that during war, there are things that has to be done. And I think, I mean, if we look at history and we look at George Washington, we'll find out a great deal of things that were done that did not actually go looks correct, but they had to be done. So this man was a great national hero. It should not be, we should stop using this Dessalines parlait au blanc.
Well, that's why we have to read, you know, and know the history, because even Dessalines used to say that the Polish are supposed to be our cousins.
That is correct.
Okay, and then to tell you, we have an example here in Miami. The Archbishop of Miami speak Haitian Creole better than I. And he's from Polish. The Archbishop Wensky, which is in Miami, he speaks Haitian Creole better than us, okay? He knows all the you call that, qui dit ça? Il dit tout proverbe haïtien yo.
Colloquialism.
Li connaît yo. Ou à l'église, ou maintenant l'église avec espagnol yo. Li dit que ça gon Haitian Creole, gon Haitian proverbe qui dit, there is a Haitian proverb even in Spanish, he will say that. That's a this and that. If we are in the church, if they have Haitian in the church, we will laugh, you know, because he will say that. The Polish people.
That's correct.
And I will add to that, also the Germans who refused to fight. There was a contingent of German soldiers that the French brought to Haiti. And then when they realized that they were fighting to reimpose slavery, Black people were fighting for their freedom, they refused to fight. So within the Constitution, 1805 Imperial Constitution, there was, it clearly, we had three groups in terms of white or people who had association with the French, okay? French women who were Haitian citizens, who chose to become Haitian citizens, okay? They were not harmed in any way. I'm sorry, the Germans, definitely, and the Polish. Yeah, as Eric said, they like to present him as though he was anti-white, whereas he was reactionary French. Those French people who, when Leclerc came back, wanted to reinstate slavery. Okay. And he was concerned about having a fifth column. Okay. And then the other one, too, it wasn't just Dessalines. There was a segment within Haitian society at the time that included both Black and mulattoes who wanted to kill the French so they can get their land. And then now they're trying to blame Dessalines for it. The other thing that Dessalines did, there's a lot that's been talked about, and I don't want to take anything away from Pétion in terms of helping Bolivar free South America. But before Bolivar, there was Miranda. Okay? And Miranda came to Dessalines. Dessalines sent him to Pétion because that's where Pétion was. It was closer to South America where Miranda was operating. So it's not just a Pétion thing, it was a policy, okay, an imperial policy, a policy of the Haitian government, okay, to help other oppressed people whenever they were fighting for freedom. So and the people that Miranda was fighting for were not Black people, they were white people. They had slaves, but they were white people. The idea was to get people get freedom. Okay. Anybody else would like to make a comment, to share something with us? Very much, Miss Mathurin.
No. I want to hear somebody else.
Okay. Anybody else want to?
Jocelyn Carmot said Fondé Blanc still have many descendants of the Polish.
Correct. I would not be surprised.
And Guylaine also wanted to know, how certain are we about Dessalines' date of birth?
Well, this is a consensus at this point in time, and there are other writers that have different dates, but it's a consensus, and that's the date that most Haitian historians agree on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we have to do that sometimes. Yeah.
Another comment. Josine, Haiti was the only country who accepted people rejected by other countries.
That is correct. That is correct.
And important to say also is that we didn't ask for anything in return. All right, we took it because we believe in the humanitarian. That was the right thing to do.
Well, this is us Black people. we are forgiving. We are more on that. Yeah, even though they put us as the devil, but we are not. You know, we are very forgiving. We don't keep things. We want to move forward in peace.
The other thing that I'm kind of coming as I learn to appreciate him more. I mean, growing up, I read a lot about Toussaint Louverture, and Toussaint Louverture is a great person. Not to take anything away from him. He and Dessalines were two different persons. But when you look at, as I'm looking at what Dessalines had to transcend, Toussaint did not have that. Toussaint was born in the company of his parents, and they were with him for a very long time, and they did enjoy special treatment, although they were slaves. Okay, so they were different. Dessalines did not have that. From the time he was born, temperament, he could not deal with being a slave. He had a free spirit, and then he suffered many harsh punishment, and they sold him many times. He was sold to different people throughout Haiti. I mean, throughout Saint-Domingue then, the north, the south, here and there. And then he didn't really catch a break until he was purchased by a freed Black, who I forgot his last name right now for some reason, but the last name was Dessalines, who was a cabinet maker, like Soya Naiti and one Ébéniste and carpenter.
Oh, carpenter, yeah.
And then he trained Dessalines in the trade of carpentry. It's clear as to when Dessalines became a free man, but we do know that he was involved in the slave rebellion in 1791. And by 1800, he was winning battles for Toussaint Louverture, while Toussaint was working for the Spanish side, because Toussaint wrote a letter complimenting him and presenting him as a very brave, capable soldier to General Lavo. This is a guy who, if we look at when you're a slave, you really depend on other people. You can't really take your basic needs. He kind of transcended that. He was able to find a group to belong to. He was able to build a self-esteem in spite of all the privation that allowed him to be the person that nature had decided that he should be.
That's human being.
He transcended, he overcame. And I think there is no greater example than that for our children to know.
That's right. This is supposed to be taught in school. Anyway, they don't want that.
Back in Haiti.
This is
People told me that he was able to inspire his soldiers a lot. You know, he was able to inspire them and to get them to do things that they never thought they could do.
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
During the Battle of Vertières, there is a story by Dr. Dalancourt, and Dessalines wanted to capture, I believe, La Butte-Charrier, and then in order for him to get to Vertières, and then there was a dry bed river, une sorte de ravine, and then the French had their cannons and then soldiers all along the side of the ravine, and Dessalines needed to get to a specific hill, so he asked General Gabart, who was only 17 years old at the time. General Gabart, and then he asked him, wouldn't it be to our advantage to be able to take that hill? So Gabart said to him, well, the way the French are positioned, it will be murderous to try it. Dessalines said to him, within half an hour, take that hill, or all the men in your battalion trying to get it. And guess what? Within the half hour, the French were gone and the hill. And I'm sure many of you remember the La Catapiro, right? That I remember very well growing up.
La Catapiro, yep.
So you what I think about what? It was about 10,000 French soldiers surrounding, I think, 2,000 black soldiers, former slave. And
I think in that battle there is a picture where they had one Polish people there.
Yes, the different pictures, but that's the one that I could find. Yeah. And you guys remember when he made the declaration, je veux avec moi, what's it again?
I don't remember all this, but
yeah, je veux avec moi que des braves, que ceux qui veulent devenir l'esclave des Français, qu'ils sortent du So that was a significant battle. Move the fort and then get reinforcement, which allowed most of the Haitian troops.
So what was the date again of this? That was November?
No, that was the battle like Catapio. I don't have the date in mind.
Oh, okay.
Have it in mind? Yeah, like Catapio, that was before Vertières. Vertières was in November.
That was okay. Yeah.
That was the battle before Vertières.
I forgot the date. Yeah. But we studied that, okay?
Yes, we did.
But from that time, forget it. I don't have it.
Jim, there's a question in the chat.
Yes.
Who between Dessalines and Toussaint was more attractive to the outside political world, and why?
Oh yeah.
Well, I have my opinion, but I'll let somebody else speak. Okay, go ahead. It's a very important question.
It is an important question, but I think
It's a very good question too. Mhm.
Well, the question it would be is that, are we talking now or are you talking about at the time?
Very good. That's a good one.
Okay, if we're talking about now, we understand the first thing that we have to put in context is that Toussaint was more of an internationalist. He was well known internationally. Dessalines was known all the time during his lifetime with Toussaint. He was a soldier. Okay, although I came across something today that also that back in 1793, where he wrote to Jefferson, asking him regarding trades and things of that nature. But Toussaint was more known as an internationalist, and unfortunately, what I mentioned earlier regarding Dessalines, he was painted as a brute, right? He was painted as a brute to the international community. It is now that, and this is why I brought this point earlier, that we need to get away from talking about Dessalines as a person that hated the white people, because it's not true.
And not only that, also they always say that Dessalines is not educated.
That's
and
correct.
It's not true.
That is not true.
It is not true. Yeah,
because if you look at the Constitution, his Constitution,
that's right.
was very progressive.
But we know about that from England was in England they had they are the one who had all his letters and saying that he was educated. This is his letters written in English again.
Yeah,
they translated everything. So
yeah.
And I used to know myself that he was not educated. He wasn't educated. But later when I found out that he was educated.
That's correct. Yes.
The other thing back then that Toussaint did, see, I don't like comparing great men to each other that way, because they each came at a different time and they each took the struggle to a different level. Okay. Yeah. But if you look at why I think Europeans, Americans, especially the slave colonies, kind of preferred Toussaint and thought that Toussaint was a man that could do business with, because Toussaint allowed the former plantation masters to return to their plantations, because he believed that he needed their technological knowledge and skill to make the colony run, because he thought that the best way to prevent re-enslavement is to show that Black people can run a colony and make it commercially viable. Okay. Dessalines had a different picture of it. We don't want to oppress anybody. We just want to do it ourselves, our own way.
Yeah, and I think also, Jean-Claude, is that I think Dessalines learned from the lesson what happened to Toussaint.
That is correct.
I think he learned a lot from there, and he knew that as the leader of a new nation, a free nation, a Black nation, that he had to be very hard and well, when I'm saying hard, and I'm saying that he had to deal with the international community differently than Toussaint did.
That's right. That's what Dessalines knew, but Toussaint didn't, miss that one. And yes. And we have to learn right now. Even now, we know that they have the worst of us and they have the best of us as human beings.
That's correct.
So but it looks like Dessalines knew about that, could feel that, and Toussaint didn't know that one.
That's correct. So, yeah, because Toussaint, as great as Toussaint was, but Toussaint was stubborn.
Because when you are soft, they think you are weak. They will step over you, and they know what to do.
Not that he was, he knew, and I think what to say, well, I don't want to get into Toussaint too much right now because it's Dessalines.
It's Dessalines, right? That's right.
I don't want to change the narrative, so I think we're going to leave Toussaint for another time.
Yeah, that's right. We live. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Dessalines was a excellent dancer and cook?
I know he enjoyed music.
Oh, he enjoyed dancing. Oh, he enjoyed dancing. Wherever there was a party, he was there. Wherever he came into a town, there was.
We have it. We have it in our blood. We have it. We have that.
There was dancing. Extremely decisive man who really did not use color, although color was very powerful at the time in Saint-Domingue. He had friends and people of all categories kind of around him. Okay. And one of the things in the Constitution of 1805 is that all Haitians were to be known as Noir.
As what?
As Noir ou bien comme nègre.
Of course, of Noir. It's only now, we have those ethnic things coming on. So it was only for, before, what did we learn? 4 races, black, red, and white, and yellow. Now, they're confusing us anyway. Even with the continents, we used to have 5 continents. Now we have 7. Even myself, I get lost. So you have to always be up to date.
In this Constitution, there were 6 military departments. Each department was governed by a général de division. And they each were supposed to build 1 primary school in their area. After he died, I don't think anybody basically put that into place.
We have been messed up for a long time. We didn't know that. Anyway, we're picking up. We'll pick it up.
Any more questions from the chat? Any more comments?
I still have hope for my country. I still have hope.
Yes. As long as I breathe, I do have hope too.
Oh, yes.
Can you read your chat?
Yes, I answered you.
Okay.
Did you see it?
No, I'm looking now.
Okay. There was a message in the chat. Can we say Dessalines was a person at the right time? Most definite.
Yes, the right
that's
person,
right. That's right.
the right person at the right time.
Most definite.
I agree. I agree.
Yes.
She did. No, I didn't see it. Where did you put it?
Did you get it?
No, I didn't get it.
I sent it to LCS. That's who you're under.
No, you have to send it to Eric. Send it to Eric.
Yes.
It seems like Madame Mathurin is the only one participating in the discussion, because besides
you are lucky. You are lucky.
Beside the 3 of you.
You are lucky. I'm in the mood.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no one
I
else.
don't talk like this, okay?
Yes. Yes.
I see some people who are muted, but they can unmute themselves.
Yes. They can. I guess they are shy.
Yeah, let me ask a question.
Eric, did you get
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Roosevelt, did we answer your questions?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Okay. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Well, it's just a confirmation of what you guys have been saying about Haiti when you were raised in Haiti, and then you tend to lean toward the Toussaint and kind of like, forget about Dessalines, all the great things he had done. And that's the same feeling I had when I was in Haiti. It took me a long time to really understand the power, the the greatness of this guy.
Mhm.
And I believe it's when you're here, when you live in the United States and maybe some other countries, that you can connect really with Dessalines and understand the importance of his of what he has done for us Black people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not only
Mhm.
Haitian, it's this guy changed the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also one of the misconceptions people have about Haiti. The revolution was for Black people.
Hmm.
After because after we were free, we were still going out offering to buy slaves
Right.
into freedom.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you look at that context at that time, with that kind of view that our leaders had, it's not was only Dessalines, because Christophe was also a very strong person. At some point, we should talk about Christophe also when it's
Tonight is Dessalines night.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
double team.
I agree. But it's important for us to know that the little island of Haiti was to be a place where all Black people could be free.
Hmm.
And this is why we are paying what we're paying, why
That's
we are
right.
suffering today.
We are paying it. We are paying it. Yep.
We
You're
are
right.
paying for that arrogance.
Exactly.
And it's not arrogance, but it's because that we are on the side of what is right.
No, it's not that arrogance, but this is human being. This is
That's
human
correct.
rights.
That's correct.
That's it. We are in
Yeah.
our country. That's it.
Yeah.
So
And
one thing I wanted.
Didn't
Go ahead,
some
I'm sorry.
other people learn from Dessalines' tactics and they used it? They used Dessalines' tactics in other countries.
Of course.
Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh. Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh.
Ho Chi Minh says that Dessalines.
not just put your men, you also have you look at the Russians, right? During World War II with the Germans, right?
Me, I could tell you frankly what happened over here the 6th of January. Believe me, I wanted to go back to my country. Because I didn't expect that in the United States. I have been here for 60 years.
Wow.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
This was very disappointing for me.
Yeah.
But my country is getting worse.
But we still have hope, though, right?
Very. The same thing. They used to criticize, whatever we are doing in whatever the deputy did that in Haiti and whatever, and what happened. So we are all the same.
Let me just go back to
I think there was somebody, Roosevelt was.
yeah, Roosevelt was talking.
Yeah, what I'd like to say, I believe Dessalines was a different type of leader in terms of understanding the necessity of the moment, and I believe that he is a genius in that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when he saw that, and I believe he said to himself, "It's now or never."
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. That's what we need. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, that's what it is.
Determination. This is the moment. This is where we shine. This is
This
the
is
time
it.
I've been looking for, and that's what he did. We have nobody else that that had done that. After him.
Idea.
That's it.
I don't know, idea.
And
We're waiting for one of our little ones.
I mean, I don't have any hope. You guys are talking about hope for Haiti. I don't have a hope.
Oh no,
What
I
I
have hope
have-
myself.
No, what I have, it's not hope. I have actions. That's it. I have actions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have actions. These are the things we got to talk about, because whenever we say hope, it's too spiritual. It's too patient. And patience, I mean, hey, that can take forever. All right. We've been out of slavery for over 200 years, and look what happened to the Americans, to the Black Americans. I mean, things were way tougher, you know, for them once we left slavery. You know, they changed the whole thing. So they could not get out of it.
Well, I agree with you. I agree
No.
with you. Believe me, but I'm not young anymore. 75 years old, and I don't have, you know, those young ones are not for Haiti, you know. So, you know, I have to face the reality myself. I don't know for you, if you have, you know, those little activists in your camp, but you know, I don't have that. That's why I still have to go by hope right now.
Well, one's actions bring another
Because
person.
what you're doing is good. What's being done there is good, because you know, this is what we have to do for the young ones. You know, maybe, you know, if we could have that really someplace, because this is good.
Yeah, but
This is-
in the name of Dessalines, we have to educate, you know, our people. We have to. In the name of
oh,
Dessalines.
please do,
We have to.
because believe me, I come from
And-
a family of educators. So if you could do that,
That is an action that I don't think it takes age. You know, we can do it at any age. And as long as we have a plan, and the plan is, I mean, in Haiti, I mean, how can you graduate high school without helping someone else to know how to read? That should be national service.
well, I agree
These are
with
the
you.
things we have
And
to do.
I agree with you, and I went there, and I didn't have the gut. I went to Aken, and I went to Jacmel. I didn't have the gut. Me, I was involved.
Okay,
Okay.
let me do a little intervention. Let me do a little intervention here,
The time is passing.
because we are running out of time. It's definitely a very good conversation that we are having. I guess it's sometime the LCS will take note, possibly having another discussion on certain on those things that we just talked about.
Yeah, that's a big. You could do that, you know.
So we
often,
could
you know.
continue the conversation.
That's good. That's very good.
Yeah, I think the conversation that is important to have, the point that Roosevelt brought is very welcome, and it needs to be discussed more. And this is where we said when we have hope, this is where the hope is.
Yep.
In the thinking, that's where it starts. So let's continue the conversation.
Do you
So-
guys like this format? Do you like this discussion type of format?
I like it myself. I don't know.
Okay, I just wish more people would participate so that there's so much that we can learn. So if people just kind of talk and speak, because this is very informal, and that gives us an opportunity to actually, you know, get educated while we share our ideas or knowledge.
I do that, even though, you know, I'm not part of the group, but you know, I have been invited, so I always want to learn. So it was very, very enlightening for me.
And we appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
I learned.
We do, and you can always be part
Thank
of the
you.
group. You can join the Louverture organization
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
and tell your friends, you know, to invite other people, because the more people we can get to
my
join
brother invited me. I don't
and
know
to
how
share
come he's not there.
ideas, better.
That's what
He's probably shy. Yes, yes.
My brother invited me. You know, I was invited by my brother, and I didn't even hear his voice.
Shame on him. Shame on him.
Hey, Mama.
Okay, you can shame on him. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
There is a message on the chat that I would like to read. I think it's from Karen Dorsey. Where there is life, there is hope. The youth will make a difference in our future.
That's right.
Where there is life, there is hope.
I second that. I second that.
Never
Yeah.
give up. If Dessalines could have come where he came from, do what he did, we cannot.
And you know, and there is the spirit, and there is the material thing. So you know, we still have to have the spirit there.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think it's about that time.
Okay. Thank you for inviting.
Okay.
You know,
Yes, let me thank all for participating, and look
Yeah.
forward to
Thank you.
look forward to hearing everybody again, seeing everybody again in our next LCS chat.
Okay, we'll try.
Thank you.
You know.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right, bye.
Night.
Thank you, guys.
L'union fait la force.
All right.
All right, okay. Okay. Let's see now. Oh, how do we get out here? Okay, here we go. Mhm.
I'm gonna tell her.
Who?
Yeah, of course, Astrid is there. Astrid heard you. Yeah, she did. She's laughing. She's laughing, Eric. Oh.
I like your